I would say the first thing about Zoom, and to avoid being embarrassed, is you need to treat it like as if you were in person with somebody. Like this is, yes, there's a computer screen or a screen in between you and the other person, but it should be exactly the same. So think like as if the person could see you in their entirety, and how are you going to behave? And you should behave the same way that you would as if you were face to face with somebody. So in like any meeting. So first, like, be prepared. So that means like prepare the space around you so you don't embarrass yourself with somebody either coming in and out inappropriately or children running in and out, which I know for us moms or dads out there, that can be a little bit of a challenge when we're working from home and the kids are screaming and running. Try to find a quiet place. Try to find a place where it's like animal free or noise free or distraction free. Make sure your technology is working. I mean, granted, you know, the technology is always going to fail. It's always the thing that's going to fail. You can be so prepared, and then it will always be. I mean, this is my experience having worked all around the world doing public relations before, is that no matter what I did, I could be totally ready. My guests were totally ready. Everybody was ready. And then the technology always fails. So try to, as much as possible, that you can control, try to get the technology to be working and make sure it's working, test it. Make sure your slide, if you're going to share your screen, make sure your screen is totally clean, that nothing personal is going to show up, because that's super embarrassing if you're working on something and you don't even realize it, and now everybody can read your emails or whatever else. So try to do that. Work on your appearance. Okay, so your appearance is really important. I know there was a lot going on in the beginning. We don't hear so much of it now, where people dress business on the top and then they're in pajamas on the bottom. I would say, okay, fine, no problem, because you can only see the top part. Okay, but I say to get really in the mindset and like a focusing being on business, just make the effort to like get dressed like as if you were to go to work. That would be it. Doing the right mindset. Which, and I think we're less too embarrassed. I think sometimes we become embarrassed or we do things that are maybe a little awkward when we are intimidated or maybe caught off guard or not prepared. And I think getting yourself ready, like being dressed a certain way, really gets yourself prepared. Body language is huge. I think body language is a huge one. So be very careful of your eyes, your facial expressions. Some people make roll eyes, or they like have a face that kind of doesn't show any kind of emotion whatsoever or any recognition. And so I think all you can do with that is just literally record yourself talking on your Zooms yourself, because you have to have permission to record other people, but you can record yourself, and then you just watch what your facial expressions you're making, because it can be really telling on what you do. We do things we don't even realize we're doing. And sometimes it can be embarrassing, or you can be embarrassed because maybe you didn't mean to say, your facial expression said something totally different than what your words actually said. You see words and you speak words and you hear words, but you also feel words. You feel things. And so people can feel a certain way by looking at you or by the words that you're saying. So you should be very aware of that, and don't multitask. So I think multitasking is really, I mean, it's a very natural thing to happen, because these Zoom calls, I mean, you can be back to back to back to back to back Zoom calls, and not so dynamic like an interview like this, for example, but literally just like a daily meeting that you have, a standing meeting, and you're getting emails about work. We have this phone addiction that we talked about. So like people, you get distracted by your phone. It's that, don't do that, because people can see it, and that can be embarrassing if somebody calls you out on it. It doesn't make you look very professional. And also maybe you could lose track of the conversation, and so you could miss on something that's quite important.